Welcome to the Player Attack summer season, thanks to Wargaming. We're taking a few weeks off to relax, go outside, enjoy the sunshine. Wait, who am I kidding? We're going to be playing our way through a whole stack of video games. Player Attack will be back in 2014. We've already got some exciting things in store, so stay tuned. We will still be updating playerattack.com throughout the holiday season, as well as hanging around on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You can drop us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, if you've got something to say. In the meantime, why don't you take a little while to catch up on some of the Player Attack highlights from the past year as we revisit some of our favourite clips.
According to the map, Iron Jaw Gulch is somewhere to the west. East. Either way, we're heading in the wrong direction. Probably. You know what? It'll be fine.
Of course it'll be fine. Embrace the adventure, Flynn. You know what your problem is? You rely too much on maps and machines to find your way. You ignore your instincts.
I happen to like machines. And ignoring my instincts is the only reason I'm even getting on this bird.
Spyro the Dragon burst onto the original PlayStation all the way back in 1998. In the 15 years since, he's appeared in 13 different games. While he doesn't play a big role in Skylanders Swap Force, the character's late 90s arcade adventure puzzle roots are clearly showing. If you've never made the trek to Skylands, skipping over both Skylanders Spyro's Adventure and last year's Giants, this is as good a time as any to find out what all the fuss is about. The story is simple. Lord Chaos is plotting to find the ancient guardians of Skylands and turn them evil, and it's up to the Skylanders to stop him. You, as a portal master, must find the right combination of fantasy creatures to overthrow Chaos and his mother before he can condemn the world to certain doom. By combination, I don't just mean picking the right character from a menu. Swap Force, like previous Skylanders games, uses real-world toys and a real-world portal of power. Choose the Skylander you want to play with, pop it into the portal, and it will appear in-game like magic. This time around, the characters are swappable. You can take the top from one and the bottom from another and combine them into an all-new Skylander, each one with its own special abilities. You'll use these special swappable skills to progress through the game. Some regions can only be completed by using water-type Skylanders like Washbuckler, others need fire like Blast Zone, and then there are some that need a character who's both water and fire, like Blast Buckler or Wash Zone. There are 16 swappable Skylanders that you can get for Swap Force, adding up to 256 possible combinations. And the in-game marketing department doesn't let you forget that you really should pick up every single one, as they all have their own parts to play. While you technically could 100% Skylanders Giants with the single figure you got in the starter pack, there are areas of the Swap Force world that you simply cannot access with the 3 figures you already have. This means either you have to do away with your notions of completion, or you have to pick up extra characters in order to find all of the winged sapphires, unlock all of the gates, and wear all of the hats. Your old characters will work, by the way. In fact, some gates need giants to open them. But back to the game itself, swappability isn't the only new thing added to Swap Force. Your Skylanders can now jump. Finally, no more relying on bounce pads. The game now feels much deeper and more multi-layered, not to mention more interesting to explore. Wander through the lava-filled caves and lush jungle scenes, each one filled with treasure chests, collectible items, and plenty of objects to smash. And it's stunning. The game is a joy to look at. All bright colours and flashing lights, the animation glitches of previous titles are well and truly fixed. This year's new issue, a camera angle that always seems to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Maybe I'm spoiled, but I found myself reaching for the right stick trying to move my viewpoint around. If you look carefully, you might see evidence that Skylanders Swap Force boasts a detailed action RPG tucked away under its child-friendly platformer exterior. Each character, each half a character, top and bottom, can be upgraded as you progress through the game, resulting in a unique skill set tailored to your gameplay style. It might not have something for everyone, but what it does have is pretty special. Kids are inevitably going to fall in love with Swap Force all over again. Grown-ups might not feel the need to hunt this one down for themselves, but more than a couple of mums and dads are going to be playing this one at night after the kids have gone to bed. There are 3 save game slots now, by the way, so you can keep your adventure separate. Skylanders Swap Force is probably best described as a combination of video game and real-world toy collection. The game itself comes with a Portal of Power and 3 new figures, Washbuckler and Blast Zone, who are swappable, and Ninja Stealth Elf, who's not. The single-player storyline is able to be completely finished with just these 3 characters. To unlock more of the Swap Force world, you'll also need at least 5 more figures plus a giant to cover all 8 elements and giant-specific tasks. These are available in games retailers and are also popping up around the place secondhand if you want to save a bit of money.
Roll out. World of Tanks. Play for free at tanks.asia.
We're not going to talk about the game as a whole just yet. We're going to talk about your specific job at the studio. You are a creature combat designer. What does that mean?
So I do all of the enemy AI and combat behaviors in the game. So not only creatures, but the humanoids that you'll be fighting as well. We are really focused on making sure that the creatures that you'll be fighting kind of carry over the same combat mechanics that you'll carry onto in Cyrodiil, which is our PvP area. So we don't want to totally flip the game over on you. Once you get into PvP, we want you to be familiar with the mechanics that you'll be going against. So for example, one of the things that players can do is they have synergies, which is abilities that work together. So if one player puts down an area of lightning, another player can go into it and act as a conduit of lightning, shocking everybody around them. Well, monsters can play off those type of synergies as well. So monsters will be able to put down an area of oil, which by itself will slow you and is quite annoying to deal with. But another monster that's able to deal in destruction magic can light it on fire, making it an inferno of death, which you don't want to be standing in. We have creatures like the Dwemer, which can go aside and make kind of static fields that the other ones will go into and power up. We have land-based Lamia, which will sing and harmonize with each other and be able to cast different abilities based on their harmony with each other. So we have lots of monsters that work together. We also have a lot of monsters that are solo fights and kind of tough on their own. So one of the monsters that you might be able to see in our gameplay trailer this week is the Daedric Titan, which is also concepted on ElderScrollsOnline.com. But it's a huge winged beast, and it's the gatekeeper for Molag Bal, keeping all of the souls trapped in Cold Harbor. So if you ever pass into Cold Harbor, you're trying to destroy a Dark Anchor or anything like that, there's a Daedric Titan waiting for you. We also have another Daedra that is being introduced in the gameplay trailer this week, which is called a Harvester. It's a multi-armed Daedra, kind of snake-like body, and her job is to harvest all the souls for Molag Bal. So we have one Daedra that harvests and steals all the souls, and another one which is the Gatekeeper. And those are both kind of solo heavy fights on their own. So they don't really work with other people because they're pretty heavy on their own. While we have a lot of new monsters, we also have a lot of monsters that you'll be familiar with from previous Elder Scrolls games. Since we have a lot of Daedra influence, there's a ton of Daedra that you might be familiar with, like Ogrim, Spider Daedra, Clanfear, new Daedra as well. But it's really interesting to go back and look at those games and kind of remember what the emotion that monster made you have when you first saw it, when you started defeating it. What kind of mechanics does it have? How do I bring that to a new environment? So that's really exciting, being able to work with older monsters as well.
What sort of challenges do you face when you're dealing with a non-humanoid enemy?
I think some of the challenges is making it feel real. Like, for example, wolves are a really good example. We don't want just the wolf to kind of stand in front of you and bite at you. Like, wolves in nature surround you, they hunt in packs, they work together. So trying to make that happen in the game environment is really challenging, and to the point it's like, how far do you go to the point where it's confusing for the player and frustrating to the point of fun versus, interesting. So we have wolves will surround you, they'll call other pack members and to hunt you and things like that. So that's really interesting as well.
And the more fantastic they get, is there any more challenge involved when there are more limbs or tentacles or tails?
Not for me, because it gives me more options. But it is a little bit of a challenge for our animators. The difference between a monster on all fours versus a monster with 4 arms that are waving around at all times, making that visually appealing as well as gameplay appealing. So there are some art challenges for me. I love monsters with more hands because it's more things to attack you with.
This is what remains. Morality, justice, mercy. They don't exist anymore. Hope is dead. Glory is lost, consumed by everything that surrounds us. Now these streets are paved towards nowhere.
Well, Mad Max is a third-person action title set in a vast wasteland based on the Mad Max IP. Basically, the player will obviously take on the role of Max, and early on in the game, he'll be losing the iconic interceptor, I'm afraid to say. But that's a great opportunity for us because Max will actually meet Chumbucket, who's a bit of a wasteland legend in his own right. He's an excellent mechanic that's well known throughout the wasteland. And the two align of sorts. They have sort of common goals, and Chumbucket will be able to help Max build the ultimate war machine.
Won't somebody tell me an answer if you can? I want someone to tell me what is the soul of a man?
For us, it was really important to get the feel right, to get the art direction right, to kind of get the mood. But then we also wanted to develop our own story and our own characters apart from Max. So that I think the key part that we took away from KMM and working with them was the overall mood setting and feel as well as art direction, and what they expected to be the core principles of Max. The challenge really is in terms of keeping the wasteland varied, to make sure that the wasteland is varied and not a dull grey all the way through. I mean, obviously, Just Cause 2 and previous titles that we've done obviously have a lot more foliage, a lot more green, a lot more colour in it. So we're trying to achieve the same thing through other materials and obviously man-made structures and things like that. The game is single player only, principally because it's based on Max and Mad Max. We thought about multiplayer, but then which role would a second player take on? Which role would a co-op partner take on? So we really wanted to focus on a deep narrative experience and presenting that to one player, and that felt like the right thing to do. To us, open world games traditionally offer a lot of gameplay variety anyway. So we don't feel the need, we don't feel under pressure to add a multiplayer just to extend the gameplay experience or extend the gameplay time. What we aim to do is provide enough fun and chaotic and challenging gameplay within an open world setting so that the player will never feel the need to go to multiplayer. It's due for 2014, and we're releasing on the PS4, the Xbox One, as well as PS3 and Xbox 360 and the PC.
Before this, we were taught it took a hero to change things. But we never got a hero. We got him. The man they call Max.
Get in, get out, get rich. There are guards and security systems everywhere, but you all know your role, so it should be easy to, damn it, run, just get out of there. Well, that's the nature of heists, and Monaco captures that perfectly. You'll rob a series of classically lootable locations. A bank, a museum, a casino, a jewellery store. And you'll do so using a colourful crew of criminals. The locksmith is obviously a skilled lockpicker. The hacker can disable security systems. The cleaner can silently knock out enemies. The gentleman is a master of disguise. The lookout can detect guards outside line of sight. The pickpocket has a pet monkey to help steal treasure. The redhead can distract guards. and the mole can dig tunnels with his freedom spoon. It's up to you to figure out who's best for each heist. The game is designed so that every mission can be completed with any character, but some are better suited to certain situations than others. Multiplayer, which is the best way to play Monaco, can make things easier by letting you combine the characters' skill sets, but the risk of your partners blundering into a sensor and alerting security adds a new layer of challenge. Throw in a brilliant soundtrack from Austin Wintory, the Grammy-nominated composer of Journey, and you might just find that the vault where we store the crown for Indie Game of the Year has been robbed. But we'll let Monaco keep that.
Roll out. World of Tanks. Play for free at tanks.asia.
Dust off those video cassettes, fire up those wireframe displays, it's time to travel to the future. 2007?
Welcome to the future. The year is 2007. Nuclear war has nearly destroyed our planet. Now, an evil presence seeks to enslave what's left of humanity. And there's only one thing that can stop it.
Nobody threatens my planet.
Michael Biehn is Sergeant Rex Power Colt.
Ubisoft's expansion to last year's massive Far Cry 3 has just been released, and it's making a big impression. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon is a throwback to the time of hair metal and skin-tight leather. You play as Rex Power Colt, a Mark IV cyborg built for warfare. His mission is to stop the evil Omega Force, led by Colonel Sloan, from unleashing an evil bioweapon upon the world. Let me level with you here. This game does not have a series of plot twists or a mystery to uncover. This is a straight-up, pea and ham, blow up the bad guys type of game. The story it tells is certainly a lot of fun, but it's about as deep as your average teaspoon. That said, I love the setting for this game. It's being marketed as an 80s VHS style version of 2007, and really, there's not a lot of other periods a story about a group of cyborgs fighting over dinosaur blood would fit. And it's not just the retro futuristic lighting and the Harold Faltermeyer-esque soundtrack either. Every little element is rooted in maintaining that big 80s sci-fi action movie feel. Colt heals himself by either performing quick surgeries on his mechanical hand or exercising with his organic one. The loading screens deliberately invoke a VHS player, and that was a particular highlight for me. My main issue is, within story anyway, there doesn't really appear to be anything done with the setting. Most of the set-piece battles happen in what could be any military complex, all cold and grey and lifeless. And all of the weapons are functionally the same as standard FPS weapons, without anything outside of aesthetics to really let you know that you're playing a sci-fi game. The game does, however, pepper this with amazing self-awareness. It knows exactly what it is. It's got a genuine 80s movie star, Michael Biehn from Terminator spewing one-liners, action and innuendos run rampant, and the cutscenes look like something from the SNES. I found the game was a lot of fun, when it wanted to be. Around the time I got the hang glider, I realized this game is just doing cool things because they're cool to do, and I found moving around the admittedly huge and really interesting world hard going, even after stealing a Jeep. And after literally punching a nuclear reactor, the capture the base and rescue a hostage side missions didn't seem really interesting enough to do. Technically, the game feels great, albeit nothing particularly groundbreaking. There were occasional graphics and physics glitches, but luckily every time I got frustrated with them, something really cool happened to keep me interested. For example, I had to reload a save at one point because the last enemy in a kill 'em all scenario got lodged in a wall and couldn't be seen. Straight after I completed said mission, I was treated to an 80s training montage. Well, that was enough for me to forgive and forget. It's still a game-breaking bug, and that will rub some people the wrong way. Your basic hazards include cybernetic soldier mooks, heavies armed with chain guns and flamethrowers, and the local wildlife. Snakes, alligators, sharks, and the titular blood dragons all think you're delicious and will attempt to make life as difficult for you as possible if you annoy them. It is totally possible, and in some cases necessary, to trick these monsters into fighting your enemies for you. The AI in this game is not that great. More than once I was able to fool enemy soldiers into drowning themselves, but luckily that doesn't make them any less fun to mow down. Where this game shines is its openness. There doesn't appear to be any set way to solve any given problem. A stealth approach using distraction and silent kills is just as effective as sniping from a long distance, which works just as well as driving a car into the base and charging in guns blazing. The game doesn't compensate for how well you do at any one given approach, so there's no real encouragement to try anything new. You'll probably find yourself sticking to one scenario over another most of the time. The setting is probably going to be enough to sell this to a lot of people. The story and the cool stuff you can do within that story will probably endear it to a lot more. If you can get into a game that wholeheartedly rips off Aliens in one mission, then this could be the game for you. It's cheesy, it's shameless about it, and it clearly loves its source material.
And that's about it for this week's Player Attack. Thanks for watching. We will have new content for you in February, but in the meantime, you can catch us on playerattack.com. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And if you've got something you want to say, send us an email, mailbox@playerattack.com, or just hop on our forums. Till we revisit some more favourite content next week, I'm Jessica Citizen, and this is Player Attack.